Microsoft's Scottish base at Waverley Gate in Edinburgh. One of its senior vice presidents is Bob McDowell, a proud Scot and a proud American. He's now based at its headquarters at Redmond near Seattle, but he travels back to Scotland several times a year. He's a member of the Global Scots Network, so he's a unique take on Scotland's place in the global IT market.
It's important to us to have staff in country. We think part of any business success is relationship, and that's important in Scotland, both in the private and the public sector. That's why I'm over here probably 3 or 4 times a year, but others as well. And the business continues in these tough times to grow for us. In fact, the Scottish business for several years growing at a pace faster than the rest of the United Kingdom. So our sense is, although a small country, a country that's becoming more and more enthusiastic about taking advantage of technology advances to help market the country, help business market themselves, and to participate, although a small country, in a large global stage.
But one of the problems about Scotland is that in the past it's almost tried to be all things to all people. Isn't it better for this country to be developing a series of niches, IT niches, for example, which will actually be much more sellable?
I think it's really important for Scotland to understand that on the one hand, it has a great brand and a great representation in the world, but it's small. And you run the risk of saying things like, I'm an IT company or country, and what does that mean? Every country on earth will tell you they want to be an IT country. So what is it that's uniquely special? Where should Scotland focus its investment so it can leverage itself in a broader way? As an example, it's become a center for games, software games technology development, in part because of university support, government support, a natural enthusiasm in the community, and you're known not just to Microsoft or other companies in that regard. So I think whether it's a focus on food and drink, whether it's a focus on technology, whether it's a focus on tourism generally, it's really important that a country of this scale be really clear to the world about what's unique to them.
Now, you've heard about the plans that Capgemini have had to create what they're calling a software factory. Do you think that's something that Microsoft could get itself involved with?
I think an approach that says I'm going to provide a vehicle for talented young people in the technology arena to come work, demonstrate their skills, and focus on particular areas is a great idea to let companies like ours and others kind of see the quality of the resource in the country. Some companies may not be as familiar, for example, as Microsoft, of the strength in games technology. If you had a place where everybody could look at a sample of the skills available in the country and see a really deep knowledge that was interesting to them, they might pursue it. So I think conceptually it's a great idea, and I bet we and our competitors and others in the industry would look at that as a great way to find people, to recruit people we might be interested in ourselves, and to get a sense of the depth of a particular skill set in Scotland, thus maybe driving us to invest deeper here as well.
We've heard a lot about the importance of government using technology to become much more efficient, but the history of government IT programs has really not been that great. What is it that can be done, perhaps, to allow government to have a better use of IT?
You know, I think the issue of technology being applied to business or government to, at the end of the day, provide a more efficient way of operating has had mixed reviews in the past, to be fair. There are IT projects that have failed, not even just because technology didn't work properly, but because people are trying to apply information technology to an already inefficient process. Doing that often results in an even more efficient, non-efficient process, if you understand what I mean. And I've seen that both in the private sector as well as the public sector. But I think the biggest impediment to IT delivering value is not IT failing, but a misunderstanding that one of the great values of IT is serving as a catalyst for people to rethink what they're doing, even question why do it in the first place. If the end game is just apply technology so you can do more of what you're already doing more cost effectively, that means if you're already making stupid decisions, we provide you a tool to make more stupid decisions more quickly and go out of business sooner as a business or become less oriented toward the citizen from a government perspective. So I think you've got to be very careful as to the reasoning behind applying technology, and before you apply it in an aggressive way, particularly large-scale project with enough risk anyway, start by questioning why the process at all, and rethink how the process should work if you're going to optimize the delivery to the citizens or to the customers. and then look at technology as a way to enable that. That's going to mean change, by the way. Some jobs will go away. Others will be created. In the purest sense, wouldn't it be great if all of government, when applying technology, could find ways to get rid of the need for people to do things that don't directly serve the citizen and allow that person then to be freed up to spend more time face to face. And on the private sector side, do the same thing, but allow more of their people to serve the customer or build products that are needed.
So does that make sense in the recent announcement, which would actually have a single procurement agency, something that's already developing here in Scotland?
Absolutely, and maybe even think further. Maybe it isn't just about a single piece of government that provides centralized procurement. Maybe it's even being able to use technology in a way that you don't need a formal centralized procurement process at all. There is a formalized, through technology, structure to ensure procurement is done properly, legally, cost-effective, deals are cut with suppliers, but the actual procurement process, everyone is feeding through that system to conduct the business that results in you buying what you need. But it essentially is the point that you make. Rather than everyone inventing their own, each department cutting their own deal, the inevitable inefficiencies that go along with that, using technology to enforce a standard, consistent way of dealing with procurement to both get the best price and ensure you comply with all the rules and regulations you need to.
Finally, turning to your role in the Global Scots Network, how important do you think that is in getting the message about Scotland out to the world?
You know, I think the idea behind Global Scots is really sound and somewhat unique. That is to say, the work that they've done to create the community, identify some of the expats and others around the world that would want to be part of that. I think the upside, the opportunity to do better, is to leverage that network in a way that it is ongoing and everyone communicates on a regular basis. For example, a Global Scot event here in Edinburgh is a great thing, the last one drew, I think, several hundred people, but how do you make sure that it doesn't end at the event, that people stay engaged and involved and participate in an effective way around the world and are tapped into? So I think the idea is super sound. It's a great base to begin from, but I think there's a lot of opportunity to leverage that, and again, technology can come into play with the whole social networking environment and the technology to support that through the cloud, for example. It enables, in this case, Scotland, to stay involved with that community and let the community stay involved as well in ways they couldn't otherwise do. I think the upside there is more engagement, more feedback, and more commitment to help Scotland from around the world.